clown right now.
Sound. Hey, we got some sound. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. The expertise, I've always been here. Our technical expertise of being able to get a live stream going. We are officially live. A little bit late. So you know what? You chilled out. You relaxed. You took an hour. It was fine. Everyone got through it. We are starting season 3 of Die Rolling, and in order to do that, we are introducing a new campaign with some new characters set in the same world as Asher, set during the events of our previous season. So without further ado, shall we get into it?
Oh,
shall we begin? Please. Would you like to begin? Let's do that.
just really string it out.
Really string it out. We're going to begin.
With some kind
Set yourself back.
We're good. Okay.
We're good?
Yeah. Okay. We thought you were going to play the intro, but fair enough.
I thought you were going to play the intro. That's
we were
fine.
going to play the intro.
We don't need an intro. It's fine. We can cut it.
Hello, boys. Pink lemonade?
Mom!
That's sweet. Sweeter than expected.
Sweet and good.
Is teriyaki supposed to be sweet?
Welcome back, everybody. Let's play some D&D. Let's do it. So, the party find themselves a day's travel out of Spetacasa. You travelled to the northeast. You've travelled along a road that you may be fairly familiar with because you will have travelled on similar roads in the Elven Lands. We're in the Elven Lands within Asher. Spetacasa is slightly north, and you're travelling further to the northeast. You believe you're travelling towards the Northeastern Gate, but particularly you're looking out for any signs of your quest. Mysterious. As you're walking through, there's this usual path that you've come across that has this slightly woven grass beneath your feet. You're still unsure, or maybe you're not, maybe you know a little bit more about this, and whether this is a natural occurrence or something that's been forcefully performed, if you like. And around you is about a metre tall waving grass on every side. The travel thus far for a whole day has been roughly the same. You find yourself just kind of mid-morning, you've broken camp and been travelling for a bit of the morning. And the sun's very high up in the sky. It's golden spell, so the weather is quite warm, it's quite nice, it's quite pleasant, and there's a gentle breeze wafting across all of this grass. It almost makes the green kind of horizon around you look as if there's a waving ocean of grass around you. While we do that, I mentioned previously we're going to have a whole new cast of characters. Some you will know about, and some you will not. So we're going to go through and we're going to introduce a couple of characters you may already know, and then a couple of characters you definitely don't. And I'm going to ask you to explain what your character looks like, how they're feeling this morning at the start of this new quest, and also, how, if you wanted to express a little bit of your thoughts and feelings, you can do that as well. And we're going to go first to Felix. What do you look like, Felix?
So, Felix Burnite is a 2.5 foot tall dog humanoid. He stands on his hind legs. He's walking along, carries the most notable item that he has is a 6 foot long great sword. Huge, big sword, broad in the blade, with a big kind of picked end at the back of it, almost looking like a wake as he swings it. He'd be walking along, he'd be pretty happy, he'd be pretty chippy, he's got a bit of a spring in his step. Black fur, white on the mouth and down to his little white tummy. He does have a very round little tummy. He enjoys his food. Quite a greasy looking little pup. Barely see his big brown eyes, for they're covered by his black curtain of hair. His only notable piece of clothing is a green and gold starred neckerchief as he walks along with this great sword over his shoulder. Probably at the back, little legs moving relatively quickly to try and keep up. Think Owlbear of the Five Musketeers.
Nice. And you're just starting out on this new quest. How's Felix acting in this scenario? It's just broken camp. It's mid-morning.
He's in good. He's pretty chipper because he's on a new quest. He's been training in Spetagaza for a while now, and training's fine to a point, but you get to it becomes time to actually use that training. And he's level 6 now. He's looking forward to smashing some things. Nice. And doing some investigation. He's with 2 new friends. One of them he's known for a while. And one of them he met recently, so he's in good company, and of course there's Elantrix, who he tries to get on with as much as possible. Sometimes rubs her up the wrong way.
Yeah.
And that's a really good introduction to Elantrix. Can you give me a description of what you look like, Elantrix?
Elantrix has raven, jet black hair, a slender face, usually stoic and stern in appearance, unblemished, but quietly attractive in appearance. She's pale. She always wears a white, kind of split trench coat of sorts with blue and gold embroidery in and around, such as the colour scheme of the Augurs of Nell a lot of the time, where lots and lots of whites, a little bit of blue and gold. It parts in the centre, and she has a shawl or dress underneath. She carries a large pentagonal mace and dark metal shaft with a rounded black swirling vortex-like grip. The head is a hollowed pentagonal prism without faces. Its 5 hollowed flanges resembling the skeleton of 6 golden dragon wings. 5 golden dragon wings. They join together at the apex. A present to her from Mary White. She's... Is she?
The Mary White.
That was...
Mary White.
When did she die?
Oh, did I get it wrong?
I did the head Mary.
Oh, sorry.
Or the great Mary, Grand Mary. One of the Marys died,
Didn't
but
need to alarm.
Mary White was the
Marrowites.
Marrowit
Wick.
Wick.
Ah, yes.
Elantrix has made clear her journey and her quest. She's, as a member of the Augurs of Nell, she's looking for these chimes, these signals of things to come, foreshadowed, pieced together in their great library. They believe they've seen one of the chimes unfold, which was the supposed death of Void and all of the madness that was in and around there, and she's in search of the next chime. So nervous but purposeful. Nervous is the wrong word. Purposeful anticipation.
Yeah. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. So we're going to move over to Caston now. Caston, apologies. I want to keep doing that.
He takes it either way.
Yeah.
He's ceased caring now. I
Yeah.
think there's a time where Caston would have nutted you one. But
I like that.
it's mildly broken down. So Caston is a stout halfling barbarian, so quite a big barbarian. Well, quite a big halfling, quite a small barbarian. Quite fierce looking, bald head, kind of mulleted hair, plaited beard, some runic tattoos, fierce eyes, hides and furs, big old great axe. Angry little man, basically. But as the years pass, getting less and less angry, more and more kind of deflated and just, on a little bit of a self-destruct. He's part of the Halfling Liberation Front, which is a kind of chaotic organisation, just, causing a bit of chaos around, jobs for hire, loves explosives, that kind of vibe. Big sort of resentment for big biblical things or big religious organisations, which is why he's kind of on this quest, is partly to seek out some kind of biblical justice. There's some stuff in his past he's trying to work through, but also he's been told there's an apocalypse and he's just happy to see it out and be front row, I think.
Absolutely. That's good.
I think that's Cassidy.
I like that. And we go finally, and apologies if it's from Thonius.
Phineas. Again, he's lived a long time and had it pronounced many different ways. But yes, Phineas is a half elf, around 75 years old. So young, middle aged by half elf standards, but with experience of the world. He is tall, thin, or slim rather than thin, quite athletically built, but not hugely muscular or anything like that. He's more on the slender side. Pale skin, dark hair, eyes that are normally a greeny blue, but a flash red on occasion, which kind of gives away what he is. He's a blood hunter, which sounds a lot more dramatic than actually is, I suppose. But he is somewhat of a tragic character, has seen an awful lot of things go horribly wrong for him in his life. And is seeking the person responsible for some of the horrible things that have happened in his life. People responsible. He is on this quest to protect Felix. He has been commissioned to protect Felix in exchange for information leading him to people he would like to find.
Okay.
He's stoic in his demeanour, but is woefully out of place in the countryside. Born and bred in the city.
Yeah.
Lived his entire life on the fringes of society as a half-elf. Nobody wanted him around. So he spent his entire life living in the shadows, in the twilight, and being out in the open on a bright sunny day. He's got his hood up. He's doing his best to create his own shadows wherever he can, because he's very uncomfortable being out in the public like this.
Which is interesting, because you do find yourself in Golden Spell, so you find yourself in this beautiful, lovely sunshine. And we should remind ourselves that actually we are in Asher. Not only are we in Asher, but in the Elven Lands, a place where magic is outlawed, a place where, depending what, how you were born and what race you were born, and even how you were born within the social structure of that race, you are looked on differently. And that will inevitably come up while you're still in the Elven Lands.
As a half elf, I'm the lowest of the low. Humans don't like me. Elves definitely don't like me.
And as a Fur Knight, I'm the highest of the high.
Oh, absolutely.
Short in stature, high in regard.
So you continue to walk along this road. You've got this lovely grass waving along, and just as you start to travel further to the northeast, you notice little patches in this grass. This grass starts to give way to kind of earthy textures. The ground stops being kind of this flat as far as you can see it, and starts to be more undulating and rounded, and some of that breaks down actually to slight rocky formations. It's obviously even the ground beneath you is becoming more rugged as you're walking. Little patches within the path disappear and reappear as time goes on. It's obviously this path hasn't been used as frequently or isn't as well maintained as some of the others you've seen. It becomes increasingly apparent that you've been travelling for a day and a bit now. You've been travelling a long time, and this path hasn't branched at all. And it came directly from Spetakaza, so you make the assumption that anyone travelling this way must have also come that way. And you haven't seen anybody in all of this time. You're struck by the fact the Elven land is vast and has a huge amount of space with not a lot in it, despite the fact that the elves, of what you've experienced with them, are very fierce about their own land and what they own. It seems they have an awful lot of it, it would seem. Can somebody, or as a group, can you roll me a perception check, please?
It's been a while. Should we do a
It's
group?
been a while.
Not great.
3.
7.
19.
Good lord, 19.
9.
9. Okay, the 19 of the group then.
Excellent.
You notice this purely as Caston pretty much trips over it. There's a wooden post in the ground that is over on one side. You're not really sure what it is. It's kind of folded over into the grass, but there's kind of this wooden post there. As you're noticing that, you smelt and seen nothing but grass for a long period of time. You are very highly perceptive of your environment, and just briefly you catch an aroma, and that aroma is something savoury on the wind, something that's not quite of nature. There's something else going on.
Felix, what's that smell?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I apologise.
No,
Is this going to happen often?
in the distance.
Can you give it
Yeah, you
What
do a perception check with advantage. You know you're looking for a smell.
Cool. Probably going to need advantage. It's been a while. I remember this is the bad dice.
Is that a bad dice?
It's 16.
16, that'll do. You
Little black nose. So,
you
yeah.
definitely can smell something, and it is fairly delicious, whatever it is you're smelling.
Yeah. His tummy makes an audible rumble.
There's something, it's cooking, is what it is. You can smell cooking. It's a long way off, but you can smell it. And with your highly perceptive nose, you can smell that there's something savoury cooking. It's almost like a meaty.
If you didn't know
Smelled.
better, he almost levitated off the ground. Something that tastes real good.
Okay.
And there's also this wooden post just lying there. It seems
What
a little
does
bit.
the... okay, so I'll have a look at the wooden post.
Yeah, it's as you start to look at it, it's quite clearly it's a sign. It's a road sign that looks like it's just fallen over the weight of age. It kind of it's been not very well maintained, but it has a couple of arrows pointing in different directions, which I presume this is a good time to ask who of the party speaks and reads Elven.
I cannot remember.
I do.
I think I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, Common and Elvish.
Common and Elvish, cool. It's written in Elvish. The Elvish is relatively high. I'm one of those awkward DMs that differentiate languages. But yeah, it's a relatively high Elven script. So this is the kind of thing that would be read by people who will be used to moving around, which are normally dignitaries or ambassadors or something of that nature. But it points, you assume you can figure out that one of the arrows, and the only arrow on there that points in one of the directions is Spetakaza, so you can figure out that's where you came from. That on its own is slightly weird because the paint is fresher. You deduce from this that perhaps Spetakaza is relatively new compared to the rest of the things on the side. There's a couple of other things on there. One is it actually says, I'm going to be very specific about this to make sure I don't
You
get
put
it
your
wrong.
glasses on.
Put my glasses on so I can read. There's a writing on there that's fairly clear but very aged by this point, and kind of stripping away. And it just says Renthari Primus. and another sign on there that is very heavily discorded by this point. It kind of worn away, and it says "Ye Old Trip." That's what it says. But there's something else there that you can't quite read. They're pointing in the opposite direction along this
The
pathway.
old trip sounds like an inn.
Elentrix is a cleric of the knowledge domain.
Ha-ha!
She has the blessings of knowledge, which means you learn 2 additional language and skills. Your proficiency bonus is doubled for any check you make with those skills. So she's
Nice.
particularly a linguist,
Okay.
and she's also a high elf.
A cunning
Wonderful.
linguist.
Okay. So you're a cunning linguist. Can you make? I always forget this in D&D 5. I always want to say a knowledge check, but what is it in D&D 5th edition?
Investigation.
Yeah, do you give me an investigation check with advantage based on everything you've got so far?
Natural 1
Try again.
and 22.
22. That'll do it.
23.
Take
Um,
23.
You notice that ye old trip, the first part of this writing, that particular phrasing, if you like, is written in very high, very old Elvish. You wouldn't use language like that anymore. It probably doesn't say ye olde, it says in Elvish. But it's specifically used for 2 reasons. One is because it was the way people used to write. Secondly is because it's used to imply that something's old. So you might use it if you're advertising the fact this place has been around for a long time, for example. However, the other name, and if you could make me also a knowledge history, a history check, if you wouldn't mind, while you're at it, but I'll give you some of the information anyway.
I should pick undercommon. Does that help?
Not in this case, no.
She's
Seems
quite
like the other way.
she's quite good at history. 21.
21, wonderful, that's plenty. So not only is Renthari Primus is written in very high Elvish, if you were to communicate this with everyone else, you probably wouldn't say Renthari Primus in common tongue. You would say something like Renthari City or the city of Renthar. It basically means the biggest city within the land of Renthar, or the biggest kind of settlement. That's kind of what the Elvish literally translates to, would be Renthar Primary City, is kind of what it means. So you could call it, you might translate to Renthari Prime or City of Renthar or something of that nature. Renthar is a name that immediately sticks out to you. It's the name of a duke. Allegedly, probably, although people don't know, the king's brother. But it's very hard to tell because unless you are very highborn in elven communities, it's up to you to tell me whether you are or not, you wouldn't necessarily know the family lines and who's related to who. These families are very ancient. They have lasted for a very long time. So these people often refer to him as the king's brother, but that could be an honorific just based on his status in society. But Renthar, as a duke, rules over this area of Asher and is kind of allowed to do it the way he sees fit, which is fairly rare given the king's grasp on the rest of society. Feel free to keep that information yourself or share it with the populace.
That sounds like something that, as a lifelong city dweller, bit working on the fringes and whatnot, that I would possibly be aware of.
Could be.
She relays what you said.
If you can give me some kind of check, depending on what you're trying to find out, take a look at what skills you got. Tell me what you're trying to find out, and I'll tell you if I can tell you or not.
Do you think you could pick up
Whether-
this sign?
Whether or not
I'm going to throw it.
whether or not
Like a cape.
that would be a place that would be welcoming for a group such as us.
Okay, give me kind of maybe an insight roll then. You could do history if
I'd
you.
rather do history than insight.
Okay.
Just
Yeah, history would tell you kind of if you know anything about it from stories, from reading, from anything
it's
else.
a powerful 9.
Powerful 9. You will probably have heard of this place. People talk about it, but nowhere near as much as you would have heard of things like Shade Camp. You've heard of those places before. There's a lot of kind of stop-offs on the way to other places, but you would have heard it mentioned, but you don't know much about it.
he's kind of just kicking this pole.
It very easily, like, if you poked it enough, it's kind of, it would crumble. It's kind of,
So it's ruined.
yeah, it's fallen over into its own weight.
We're
So it's
breaking
just
it.
not. Yeah, you're breaking it up. That's fine. That's absolutely fine.
We're both kicking it on the floor.
If I,
And then
if
with
I,
Nelson,
if I pick a piece of it up and go,
Yeah, you don't do that.
It's a trick.
That's very offensive to my kind.
But you can still smell this aroma of meat. It's still in the air. It's relatively far.
Yeah, I think Felix is going to follow his nose.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it carries you along the path. So you go in the same way that you away from Spatcar. So it carries you along there. You can't, it's the wind's kind of blowing amongst this grass. So you can't pinpoint it exactly, but it's definitely off path somewhere. So as you get closer, and it's getting a little bit further on the day. It's a very long way away. It's getting further on the day now. You're kind of getting towards noon, but not quite there yet. The sun's quite high in the sky. The smell becomes really pungent to a point that now it's been pointed out. Some of you start picking up the fact that that you can smell this.
we're getting close to some sort of people.
It's a bit strange in some respects because you haven't seen anybody, for one thing. You don't know if anybody who's left Spatcar. And they're obviously making no attempt to hide the fact they're cooking whatever this thing is. I assume unless you choose to do anything else, you're just following on from Felix.
As we're walking along, I've got a crossbow, light crossbow strapped to my hip, and
Cocked and ready.
it's not quite cocked and ready.
Okay.
It breaks down so that it folds flat against my
Ah,
hip. So I'm just sort of lifting the catch off.
street piece.
Yeah, so that it's as I'm approaching other people, I'm getting ready just in case.
Felix is very excited for the food.
Felix-
To the point where he's singing to himself old Fernite songs like "Paw, paw, paw, I'll give you the paw. If you give me the sausage, I'll give you the paw," and things like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a good song.
Preston is going to say, it smells a bit like Fernite. Have a little chuckle to himself.
Felix, remember you're a walking Fernite
Yes.
in Elven lands.
Yes.
Let me go first.
Fine. Just
If I find a sausage, I'll throw it your way.
obliged.
So you're going to head on and ahead of the party?
I'd just like to be a little bit ahead of Felix.
As they always say, shield before the sword.
So you travel further.
You should be alright.
I'll back you up.
Caston,
Naughty boys at the back.
Keeping my hood low.
I'm going to kick the sign.
Yeah.
While not breaking eye contact.
you might be okay. I'm trying to work out how they feel about halflings.
Of the
I'm
two,
fine.
of the two that are ahead, then, which I imagine are going to be you guys, I'm going to give you a choice, and you can roll the same one for both of you. You can roll differently. You can either give me a performance check, a perception check, or a history check. So I'm going to let you do one
I'm
each.
quite good on perception.
Is that for all four of us?
Just you two.
Just, well, I'm a history specialist, so
Very well.
that would be mine.
Go ahead.
Nerd.
We're both just shouting nerd.
24.
24, that'll do. Just about.
Yeah.
Just about.
You remember what happened?
Considerably better than my perception roll.
What was your perception roll? 5. Cool. You've got no idea what's happening.
No.
Yeah, no idea whatsoever. However, Alantrix, you hear something. You can smell this meat. It's becoming this. The smell is meat. It's some kind of meat. You're not entirely sure what it is. As Felix gets a little bit closer, you might be able to identify it. But you're definitely smelling meat cooking. That's what that is. Cooking well as well. Actually, it smells delicious. And actually, you hear a song. Is what you hear, but you're less interested in the fact that it's to music. What you're interested in what's being said, specifically because it's said in High Elvish, so it's a very particular form of High Elvish, which points it out as being historically important for some reason. And the song goes a little bit something like this. For when the crown, stout and true, would rather burrow than grow anew, here did plant the cursed seed, a mind not on love, but law and greed. For though they prospered, they will no more. They are fewer that remember yore. As gold is pure and will not rot, yet it cannot fill the maiden's cart.
And repeating that over and
It's
over.
relatively repetitive, but because of the tonal way that Elvish is sung, it sounds differently in each refrain. So it's quite lyrically pleasing. If you didn't understand Elvish, you'd think that somebody was singing different lines, but actually the meaning is always the same in different ways.
Can I listen just a little bit longer? Just hear it one more time.
Of course, you can have it written out, so don't worry. But it is, for when the crown, stout and true, would rather burrow than grow anew. Here did plant the cursed seed, a mind not on love, but law and greed. For though they prospered, they will no more. They are fewer that remember yore. As gold is pure and will not rot, yet it cannot fill the maiden's cart.
Okay.
I don't know whether you recognise it or not. You're probably not the kind of person who lollygags around and listens to songs, but the fact that it's in High Elvish makes it historically important in some way.
Mm.
The good thing about this is, as you're travelling further, you all hear the sound and you can smell the sweet. You get to a point where you can pretty much pinpoint where this is coming from. It's off the track, sort of to the left, by a fair margin. That's not unusual. When people are camping down, they don't normally stay near the path, because they kind of stay out of earshot of travellers most of the time. But again, for whatever reason, these people don't seem to be making any attempt to hide. As you get a little bit closer, just as the undulating hills and bits of rocky outcrop start to kind of show things amongst them, you notice two white peaks. They're the peaks of a bell tent, it would seem. There seems to be two tents just almost as far as the eye can see, maybe kind of, not quite as far as the eye can see, as far as you can see within these rocky outcrops. They're probably about 90 feet away by this point. You can hear this song singing, you can smell this meat cooking.
Geographically, is there any way we could flank this, just in case?
I'm thinking the same thing, actually. We're still amongst the long grass, aren't we? Either side
absolutely.
is the long grass. So
Yeah.
I'm going to...
It dissipates in bits and peaks and troughs. It's not kind of as completely uniform, but it is still there.
I'm going to...
And there's these big rocky outcrops as well. It's no longer a flat ground. You could.
I'm going to quietly signal that I'm going to go a long way round from the right-hand side of the road they're on.
They're kind of off to the left, so
Off
it's
to the
like
left,
left-hand
so
side.
I'm going to go round, take
Yeah,
a long way
further.
round the left and come in sort of from behind, from the opposite side to the road.
Absolutely.
Through the long grass, stealthing it.
I assume you stealth. Can you roll me a stealth check, please?
I can roll a stealth check. And that is 21.
21.
And I've sort of signalled to the others that that's what I'm going to do, and I'm crouching down in
We're
the
all
grass.
just stood there. You're so sneaky.
So sneaky.
Elantrix is going to just cast a quick cantrip message. You're gonna hear in your head, very quietly, avoid killing anything.
I'll do my best.
And you can whisper back, and I can hear you.
I don't intend to kill anything that doesn't try to kill me first.
There's only 2 tents here.
One turn each.
We can absolutely F these.
Yeah,
Take whatever they're cooking.
we'll hang behind Elantrix at a ready to smash anything
Absolutely.
distance.
Absolutely.
We could kill everything here.
I could do it on my own. I could do it before you do it.
I'd like to see that.
I feel a bet coming on.
Who's taller out of the two of you?
I don't know.
No, the halfling's definitely
Only
taller.
just.
But then I'm taller with taking into account sword. I'm not.
No one counts their sword when they're doing it.
Oh, I think you'll find Felix does. Am I tall enough to get on this ride? I am now.
I could be taller than all of you.
Nice. Cool. Okie doke. So you're going around the left flanking.
Yeah.
The rest of you can see these 2 tents. You can hear this music. You can smell cooking. Are you getting closer as you flank?
I'm
You can't get
I'm taking a
you
wider
know.
path round, but yes, I will.
Do we have to go through the grass to get to these bell tents?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're obviously your
Well,
trouble.
I think I'll probably roll stealth anyway, so he'll hang back in the grass when Elantrix eventually breaks through the veil.
Absolutely.
Well, that's not amazing anyway. 10.
So you're deliberately being stealthy, but
Yeah.
you're making contact.
The great
after
sword
Elantrix.
is poking out of the grass. Real sneaky.
Sneaky, sneaky, sneaky.
Wonderful.
And it's almost like a rudder. You can tell what direction it's going.
Yeah.
So what's Caston do?
He's like, he's gonna just like kill him, Thinny, and then he'll duck down and be like, and he'll roll his stealth or whatever.
If he has to.
Stealthy.
He's rolled it 5.
A 5. Nice. He is really grumbling then. And Elantrix, what are you up to?
She's walking ahead of obviously everybody else more directly towards the area. She's importantly going to have nothing drawn, everything's sheathed, and she's going to try and look as sort of non-threatening as possible.
Okay. Thanius, am I saying that right?
Probably.
Probably. Thanius, you deliberately stealth around first. Are you trying to draw a bead and kind of see these people? If so, you would do it slightly before Elantrix.
Yes.
You are? Okay.
Yes.
And what you see before Elantrix kind of makes contact then is there's these 2 bell tents. They're very well kept. They're quite ornate. They're relatively fine tents. And you'll see there are 4 elves, and they're obviously in the process of putting up their camp, basically. But you think they're putting it up, they might be taking it down. They're doing something with the tents. You're not entirely sure. You're not used to the outdoors, and the people doing things with tents. You're not entirely sure which one's which. More impressively, if you like, a couple of things catch your eye. 3 of them are relatively similarly dressed. They're wearing kind of white. They're not hidden. They're wearing white, fairly ornate robes, but they are armed. So they're wearing kind of chainmail. They're wearing, particularly, you can see that all of them have very ornate kind of swords. They're long, almost folded steel. They're very high quality. They don't look like they're wearing military insignias or of any kind of military bent, but they obviously know what they're doing. They're walking around with purpose. They know things. One of them in particular stands out to you, and this is a person who, or an elf that is around kind of a relatively small cooking pot. So it's on a bracket hanging over an open fire, and he's cooking something in there. Obviously meat, you can smell it, it smells amazing, there's herbs, there's salt in there, it's obviously cooked to a relatively high quality, and he is the one singing this song. He's singing this song fairly loudly. For an elf, he's tall, he's wearing this ornate white robe, almost somewhat casually draped over one shoulder. He has this very long, very ornate folded steel blade. It seems to not affect his ability to cook, sing, move around. He seems very okay with the fact that he's carrying this thing. And he's singing this song. His hair is golden, which is very bright. And golden spell, the light is really hitting it. It almost seems to emit light. His whole person seems to be relatively bleached, if that makes sense. But as the light hits it, what is immediately apparent to you is the hair almost appears feathered. So not necessarily like it's just straight hair, but there's almost this spectral view of the fact that his hair might be feathered in some way. What is strange is they've all either just bedded down or just building this camp. They're all wearing white, the tents are white, everything seems to be untouched by the dirt around them.
Are we still in contact? Can we actually communicate back and forth, or is it?
I can communicate to
one
you.
and done deal.
And you can communicate back, but you can't, unless I prompt it, you can't do the same to me.
Right. Okay.
So at this point, Elantrix, you're probably going to start moving over this rocky outcrop. Unless you choose otherwise, people are going to see you.
I'm going to try and join in with his song
Yeah, do it.
as I continue to walk slowly towards them.
Can you? It's very easy for you to pick it up, being a linguist.
Mhm.
Can you roll me a performance check?
If you do poorly, it's creepy.
Yeah. 8.
You doing tenor harmony?
She's not the greatest singer. You've heard more beautiful Elven.
Simon Cowell walks out of the tent.
As you start singing, the other voice doesn't seem to stutter or move its place at any point, and actually the harmony matches yours, which is probably a good sign. But there's a deliberate, as the language is tonal, the other voice takes the other tone. So they're obviously deliberately trying to match what it is you're singing. After this goes on for a little while, and you hear a voice call out to you. It is in Elvish. And you hear a voice call out, and this voice says, "There's no need to stay and hide. You can come out."
I'm going to put on my best high elf because Ilandrix is specifically a high elf.
Yeah.
I'm going to put on her best high elf accent, and I warn you, I have travelling companions with me.
It's no matter, and it's just good to hear that people are travelling these wakes again. Please come and join us.
She walks a little closer, and she kind of respectfully just bows her head a little bit because she realises they're a higher status than she is.
It's very rare to see people travelling these areas. It's good to see somebody. What brings you here, if you mind me asking?
I'm an augur.
Oh, one of the augurs. Wonderful. We travelled from there not 2 days ago.
You did?
That's right.
From Spedicasa.
Yes. Yeah.
And what sends you this way?
It's official business, I'm afraid.
I see. I have a fur knight with me.
You notice his expression is somewhat serene. This isn't uncommon amongst high elves. It's quite hard to read. However, you're fairly trained at this. Nobody else probably would have noticed this, but he obviously quickens slightly in the face. That is highly interesting. This far away from Equa.
Yes.
What business do you have with a fur knight?
He is my guard.
I see. And you brought him here from Equa, did you?
Yes.
Marvellous. I'd very much like to meet this fur knight.
She's going to look across to where she believes you are.
You can tell he's there because of the great sword out of the grass.
Yeah. And she looks at you and sort of smiles and gestures.
Okay. Well, he can't see you. So.
Felix.
Still going backwards and forwards.
Yeah, the great sword twiddles. He hears you, and he'll stroll out of the grass with it over his shoulder. You rang.
My guard has an appetite.
Stomach audible. What you cooking over there? Meat? A job of meat? You got on your fire? Is there a fire? Tell me there's a fire. Is there a fire? What can he see?
Yeah, so you can see almost a small cooking pot, relatively small. It's made out of quite a nice metal, which is unusual. Normally these things are cast iron, things that retain heat. It's made out of a nice metal, probably because it's light for travelling. Has a kind of a bracket over the top that allows it to hang over the fire by a chain. And there's stuff cooking in there. It's meat. It's kind of a collection of meat, herbs, and salt, and it makes this kind of lovely smell. It's unusual to smell something this good on the road. You can probably identify it if you try hard enough, if you care.
Of course he cares.
Yeah.
Crikey, yeah. Let's do it.
Roll me whatever you want in order to try and identify this meat. It could be nature, it could be a perception, it could be...
Yeah, let's do insight.
Yeah, do that.
It is 15.
15.
Sorry, 14.
14. You rolled an insight roll, which was a good choice for 2 reasons. One, you can tell that meat is jackalope. That's what that is. It's quite easily hunted in the area. It's been cooked very well. This person obviously knows how to cook fairly well. You also rolled an insight roll. The person you're talking to is obviously uncomfortable that you're here.
Okay.
You look at him, he's relatively smiling, he's fairly serene.
Mm.
You fought people before.
Mm.
You fought armed people before.
Mm.
While he's fairly serene, you notice slight twitches in his companions. They're paying more attention than they would do normally.
Cool. Well, he is going to try to put them at ease with a little performance.
Go ahead.
So he's just kind of talk his way through it.
Yeah.
So come across a bit dumber than perhaps he is. Swing his sword around a little bit and be like, "Yeah, I'm a god. You know, come a long way from Oakhorn, pretty big deal, but."
Yeah.
And give him a bit of that while he works his way towards the food. Let's see how we get on. Ooh, it's only a 12.
It's a 12.
It's more than 10.
There's an awkward silence
Yeah.
as you get closer and closer. There's almost a twitching amongst not so much the person who stood next to this fire, but the rest of them are obviously awkwardly twitching. As you step beyond a certain line, almost as if there's an invisible line around him,
Yeah.
the three other people take a step forward, almost immediately, in unison. These people are trained, highly trained.
Okay.
As that happens, the person you're talking to laughs.
Okay.
He just starts laughing. It's a weird sound over someone so serene because it's almost uncontrolled. It's
Yeah,
almost
yeah.
like he starts this uncontrolled laughing. And as he's laughing, he kind of says, "You should come here. You should bring this Fur Knight. Bring him to me." But I must say, this is highly unusual. I do not know your name, nor do I know why you are here. You are an augur. You are very welcome here. But why is it that you have this strange travelling companion? For what reason do you travel this way?
Here's my guard. I'm an augur. You know my mission. I'm searching for the next chimes.
Right. Okay. And tell me, who is the other one?
The other one, I have a half elf with me.
I can hear him. Or them.
Yes. Thanis.
Very carefully puts the crossbow, folds it up, puts it back, stands up.
Hello there.
Hello.
I see. You travel with a human. It's a
I'm
strange
not
companion.
A human.
You're not?
I'm half elf.
I see. My mistake. It's an easy mistake to make.
Yes, yes it is.
But this wasn't the person I spoke of. I can hear somebody out in the grass there.
My third guard. Caston.
You're raised.
I see. What a strange collection you are. You were probably right to hide them. You probably thought you had a lot to fear from us, didn't you?
I'm an augur. I fear very little but the chimes.
Very well worded. But I like your companion. He's very amusing. Perhaps you should come. You should all come. You should all come and eat. You notice as he says that, you don't even need to roll an insight check. The rest of them are very put off by this whole idea.
I'm already there.
Yeah.
Stormed through.
I would like to use one of my 2 channel divinity actions
Ah.
to read his thoughts. The creature must make a wisdom saving throw. DC 13.
DC 13.
I do miss being like a wizard a little bit because most of my skills are just like smash, 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 smash. I'd like to smash something.
Passes.
Passes, okay.
What happens if he passes?
Um,
Is he aware of it?
on fair,
It's like a shooty pain.
on failure, you can read. Hang on. No, on success, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. Yep.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
But failure, he doesn't notice that anything's happened. Cool.
Wow.
That's
He
good.
doesn't know you tried.
Yeah.
But please come and join us. I do not know you. What is your name?
My name is Lanterix Oaquai, which he would know most likely means of Equa.
You are from Equa?
Yes.
I too am from Equa. We have something in common already. So, how is it you come across these strange companions?
Sorry, are you reading his mind? What happened with
You
that?
passed the
I tried to, but
Okay.
I couldn't get through.
Okay.
Too many feathers.
I saw what you tried to do.
Creepy. Cool. Well, Felix, sort of knowing that these people are a bit awkward, he's going to keep his distance.
Okay.
He'll be like, "Oh, I'm your guard, so I'll guard over here." I think it's probably a good idea.
No! Dogman, come here, Fernite. I
No,
want to
I'm-
see you.
Well, yeah, but my job is to. I'm paid. I'm going to stay on the outside of here. Yeah. So he'll stay sort of to the outside of the grass ring and keep his distance. But he'll also take that as an opportunity to kind of walk the lap as well.
Yeah.
So he can
Stick
get a
with the
good
horse,
eye of these bell tents and if there's anything out of the ordinary.
As Felix does his lap, I will sort of
Catch up to him coming in from the grass from the other side. I will more or less join him.
Yeah.
I'm very, very reluctant to enter the camp.
Of course. So you circle in this camp as you go through.
about
Alantrix,
you?
I must say.
So I'm heading to the foods. So I'm heading to whoever's closer to the foods. Like,
It's Alantrix and this taller individual. Have you broken the circle of the camp yet, Alantrix? Or are you still stood at a distance?
She's at a normal conversable distance.
Cool. Yeah, so not
Mm.
not talking from a distance.
can we eat while we talk?
Of course, please do.
It's gonna go through.
Yeah.
It's gonna-
He pulls a bowl out from the bag that's kind of laid down and ladles some of this kind of meat and gravy into this bowl, and he hands it to you.
God, he's gonna take it and.
It's got these big chunks of meat in it. It is delicious. It's something that you probably haven't tasted in a good long while. It's probably slightly better than the food you've eaten at Speccazo. It's this lovely kind of meaty gravy texture.
I'm gonna look to Alantra. You could learn.
So this
You could learn. You could learn.
There's this thing I do on the road where even if it smells really good, I don't know if it's poison, so I let someone eat it. So he's explaining.
It's worth it.
Yeah. It looks good, but you never know.
As a high priority, could you reach the T-Rex, please?
The concentration T-Rex.
Yeah. Also known as the bottle opener.
The bottle
Yeah,
opener
thank you.
concentration T-Rex.
They are. These people are mercenaries. They were looking for work. I needed a guard.
I can see why they were looking for work. Quite an odd assortment.
I don't disagree.
Yeah. And you, I must admit, it's very strange for your guard to ignore my command. It's not something I'm particularly used to. Is he all there, all trained?
Felix,
Well, he's walking around the lap, so based on what you see, does it work? Is it comically timed that it looks bad, or like he's just walking along with the sword,
Absolutely.
no,
Comically.
chatting to Phineas? Yeah, they're just having a chat.
he's a little hard of hearing.
For
See,
He's got floppy down ears, so yeah. Yeah, maybe a little bit in here.
Felix,
Yes.
the man would like to speak with you.
He's Jesper, is he? Okay. Wow.
I'd like to see you.
Yeah. Well,
I'm just gonna again just turn, try and cantrip message to you,
Yeah.
and just say, "Don't let him touch you."
Okay. You got.
Good advice for life.
Yeah. You've got eyes, right? You can see the Fernite from all the way over there.
But you're such a stunning creature. I want to see the workmanship, the craftsmanship that went into whatever you are.
Yeah, I work out, if that's what you mean. Yeah, pretty good with the weights.
Strange creature.
And he's gonna keep, he keeps going around the radius. So even though this guy's talking out, it's like he has to follow him around.
You continually moving around, and you notice the bell tents. There's nothing out of the ordinary. You can catch through kind of the open move. Most of the tents are closed by this point because the other individuals have stepped away from them.
Yeah.
But as the wind blows, it's not unusual. If you're really looking for it, you'd be able to catch it.
He's really looking for
Yeah,
it.
you can catch a little sight inside. I won't make you roll for it because
Oh.
actually you catch sights of bedrolls, of kind of small lights in there, perhaps lanterns. There's nothing immediately that catches your eye. The only thing that catches your eye is that there's 4 individuals, including the individual by the fire, and they are armed, and they seem fairly eased with the fact that they're armed. They're obviously fairly confident in their ability.
Do they have any insignias or anything to tell us exactly who they're working for? Because obviously we've got the kind of the local elves, which is this whatever it's called, brother of the king,
Renthari,
and then Renthari. Do they seem Renthari in any way at all? Is there anything to us?
There's no immediate insignias. They've insinuated they've travelled from Svetakaza.
Mm-hmm.
Make the assumption that they're not from Renthar.
It's kind of weird that they were in Svetakaza.
Before, just as an injection, before Felix goes
Not to matter.
into the,
it's not there at all. It's a good thought.
close into the camp, I just wanted to whisper, lean down to him, whisper in his ears, I have your back.
And I have your front. I don't
And
know.
while I'm crouched down, I'm just going to pick up a handful of pebbles off the ground. Just, I don't want to. So I'm just holding them in my hand, just a small handful.
I'm glad the halfling has joined us, but you may want to seek better mercenaries in future. Me and my men would have been happy to escort you if you were travelling with others.
Yes, well, I'm a little short on gold.
Oh, I'm gonna. There are no thinnies here. And they seem thinny here. Thinny is rare. Dig in.
I won't.
Please, Elantrix, would you care to eat this?
No, I'm quite well, thank you. I don't eat meat.
Interesting. And is that a religious observation, perhaps?
Partly, I find it gives me indigestion.
Oh, I see. Not a good thing when you're travelling, eh?
No.
And tell me, where did you learn this song? Is this the first time you have heard of it?
I am a high elf. I don't know.
You sing it very well for someone who has perhaps only just heard it.
Is there anything in the song that would suggest? Because it kind of lyrically, Felix knows Elvish, probably knows High Elvish, a bit of High Elvish anyway.
Yeah.
From the people who would have run the arena.
Likewise.
Is there anything that would suggest? Because it seems kind of anti-crown by my reckoning. So that does tend to suggest that these elves work for the locals as opposed to those from Equin. What do you think, Phineas?
Yeah, that was the impression that I got.
I don't really want to talk to them, though.
No.
Maybe you go.
No, I sense that I am quite possibly even the least welcome here.
Yeah, even less than I am.
Are you guys deliberately trying to keep this?
Yeah, we're having a little whisper,
Little
cheeky whisper.
May I ask where you're heading?
Of course. All of this is open to you. You need only step into the camp. I feel your companions are being somewhat...
Caston's already put his bowl
Yeah,
in one of the
so
other people
Yeah.
for a refill.
I don't have detect magic, but I have detect bullshit.
One moment, please. We're travelling to the northeastern gate. We're hoping to travel through. We're going to a particular gathering. Tell me, have you heard of a man called Stiltmeyer? You must. They're wonderful. For a non-elf.
I think Zolan would have
You mentioned
spoken to her about gnome.
That's right. Yes. So you do know them. I thought somebody of your nature might. They make these wonderful contraptions. We're going to this event. It's called Stiltmeyer's Cavalcade of Contraptions for Conflict, Confrontation, and Outright Combat. We aim to travel there and, well, do business with the Stiltmeyer.
You're mercenaries.
You shout this out.
Yeah.
Because you're all on the camp. No, not quite. Official business, you see, from Aqua.
I see.
Well, are you nourished enough?
I haven't eaten a thing, but I'm fine. I lost my appetite.
Hopefully I'm on my second bowl now.
Yeah,
Please
they
do.
quite happily fill the bowl up. There's quite a lot of food. You notice that some of the other guards start eating. There's still this natural tension around, particularly as you guys are certain the Camp of Whispering. Yeah, there's an element of tension, if you like. It's fairly apparent.
You're aware that Felix would eat food out of like a doggy bag if you were to
He's
collect
like,
some.
there's a wink and a jackalope in the breast pocket. And he's not hiding that.
That's fine. They don't seem particularly worried about the food.
He winks at the high elf.
So you know the story then?
Of Stiltmire?
No. The song.
The song.
They don't sing it in the city anymore, do they?
I don't know. I don't know if I know the song. I just sang it.
Well, you sing it very well. Your high elven is quite good. You must be fairly learned, no?
I like to read.
It's very old. My mother used to sing it.
What's it mean?
I was hoping you would ask that. Which implies that either you don't know or you're dragging me on quite a lot. You genuinely don't know. How interesting. He's trying to get a read on you. He's actually going to roll an insight check. And he's going to do it. He's trying to figure out how old you are.
Okay.
17. You can contest it if you wish. You can use something like a... I wouldn't even know what you roll. Probably a wisdom check, I imagine.
Maybe deception?
Deception? Yeah, you can use a deception.
Only 10. Yeah.
So he correctly reads your age. You rolled a 17.
Okay, 120.
Yes, perhaps a little on the young side. Still a while to go.
120.
It's a song...
Felix is like 5.
In dog ears.
Just in human years.
I thought I was old.
It's an old tale. It's it speaks of a land far from here. You can probably see it, actually. It's why we sing it. He turns and he points far over to the east. And as you can see it just on the physical kind of peak of your distance, you can see a mountain range. The song is based there. It's the tale of, dare I say it out loud, I suppose I'm fairly far from Echo, of the dwarves. Allegedly the dwarves ignored the guidance of the elves, of course. And you know, life is like love. It can be given, but also it can be taken. And one way of taking the former is to ignore the latter, and there's no greater love than that of a child.
Have you seen a dwarf?
Nobody's seen a dwarf. I don't even think there are dwarves. Perhaps it's just a tale we tell our children. Perhaps they're all dead. Who knows? It'd be wonderful to go there, wouldn't it? Perhaps you and your band of odd bald
I'm not a
renegades.
dwarf.
You look a little bit like one, actually.
I'm not.
I was hoping when the song came, you came rolling over the hill there, that maybe all of my misdemeanors would be proven incorrect and you would be the dwarf I was looking for.
I ain't no dwarf.
You do look like a half. And I've seen a fair few in my time.
I'll break bread with you.
Mm.
Just.
Already have.
I like this one. You should have hired more of him.
He's going for another bowl.
Yeah. And a hearty appetite as well. 3 of him. Leave the others out of this. But that must intrigue you a little bit as an organ, no? The story of the dwarves.
Yes.
It's funny you say you're looking for this this knell, signs of the end of the world. My mother used to speak of dwarves. That's where the song came from. It was a tale she told me about not ignoring the will of the elves. A tale that maybe we should all hear. I mean, they ignored it, and look where that got them. If they ever existed in the first place.
And you're heading in search of them?
No, of course not. That'd be mad. I'm heading to Stiltmire and seeing what I can buy for the crown.
Well, we're heading the same way.
Felix is going to sneak up on one of the guards, not because he wants to like kill them or anything. It's because he just wants to spook them with conversation.
Okay.
Yeah. See how he gets on. Ooh, that's a good one. 13 plus 3, 16.
Might just do it. Let's find out.
So it's more just like arcing.
Absolutely. I think they're a little bit distracted by the
Yeah.
story. They're kind of engaged by it, so you can get quite close up behind
So
them.
you're going to be quite close, and he's just going to be like, "You ever seen a Fire Night fight in the arena?"
Can you make me a dexterity saving throw?
Jeepers. Oh, 20 plus 3, 23.
As this happens, the individual he's eating a bowl almost immediately, with reflexes that you would imagine, draws this blade
Yeah.
and spins round. You're faster, so you manage to avoid the fact that this thing happens.
Doesn't not just avoid, parry. Yeah. Well, now you've just seen one fight in the arena.
Funnily enough, the person in the middle laughs, so you just laugh at this. So, you should bring this one closer. He should come and talk to me.
He does a like a sweet like link roll away as well. Like, anyone seen a Furnout fight in the arena? You?
Guards,
She has him.
do you need to stop? Or do we head on?
I don't need to stop.
I went in the bushes.
That was a burp. Didn't need to.
We're good to go.
Are we alright? We've travelled for quite a while.
Yeah, you're absolutely fine. You've travelled for most of the morning. With the conversation and everything, it's probably about kind of midday by this point. The sun's kind of travelled over your head. It's kind of travelling on. It's kind of strange these people are breaking camp in the middle of the day. That it occurs to you. But other than that,
Why are you breaking camp in the middle of the day?
when you travel under command of the king, you can pretty much break camp whenever you want. We're in no
That's
particular
fine.
rush. But I appreciate the forthright question. Getting conversation out of you has been fairly difficult. You don't fear us, do you? You wouldn't fear me.
I don't. But my guards,
Fear and trust are different things.
you know very well that these three are somewhat hodgepodge group of races. Many elves would not treat them with such kindness as you have.
That's very true. I mean, I could have demanded to see papers.
And I'm paid to keep a keen eye on things. Whoa! Yeah, so that's my job.
I like this. He's very rude, don't you think? Delightfully rude.
Your
He-
swords look very well made.
They are.
Yeah, is that folded steel?
It is.
Nice. Magic or not magic?
Sorry.
I mean, you know, like really well. I use it as a soft term for really, really well made. Yeah, really, really well made. Like, man, that's magic.
I think your elvish may be letting you down, dog.
What's the word I'm looking for?
Well made.
That's 2 words. I meant well made. Anyway, best be getting off.
Maybe I'll do the talking. The next people we meet.
Perhaps that's good. You know, these lands aren't like Equa. The further you travel, there's going to be less people looking out for the best interests. That's why we're here. Renthar isn't particularly forgiving of foreigners in lands, and you're going to have a hard time.
What do you know of him?
Well, he's a hard man, some would say fair. But he has these, should we say, interests. Perhaps a little bit beyond what we'd expect of Equa.
That's vague.
I wouldn't expect you to understand the subtlety. Apology. My common isn't particularly good. I try not to use it where possible.
I'm going to shout some undercommon out.
Marvellous!
I got that reference.
You're all linguists. What an unusual band you travel with. But yes, Renthar is, he has...
Oh, we've got a subscriber.
Yay!
Couldn't quite read it, but it began with T. So thank you very much
Thank you very much.
for the description.
Tez. Terry Tez.
We'll go with Terry. Thank you. Follow, I think, rather than subscription.
But
We'll
Renthar,
take it.
he has certain appetites, shall we say.
Appetites.
Yeah.
It gets better by the day.
For women?
Oh, certainly. He has a wife, but also, I hear he has another.
1000 XP.
In addition, he's relatively reclusive. Spends a lot of time in his study. Maybe you get to meet him. Maybe you can talk to him about the books that he reads. Of course, who am I to judge? The brother of the king can pretty much do what he wants, can he not? In fact, if someone's to find out that I'm talking bad about Renthar, maybe I don't end up with him too well. Maybe I end up on my own with a ragtag bunch of odd individuals.
I don't think they're that odd. They all kind of dress the same as you do.
I do like this one. Can I have him? How much do you want for the dog?
It looks like she's genuinely thinking for a moment.
Yeah. And he's like counting on his plate. Like, 1, 2,
No,
3.
I'm sorry, we must go. Thank you for your hospitality and for your food.
You going? You're going to travel with... Okay. Fair enough. The rest of the guards seem immediately quite put off by the fact that you're leaving. But whoever it is in the middle doesn't seem to particularly mind.
I didn't catch your name.
It's unusual for me to be asked my name by... it's just very...
That's fine. I'm Felix Fernite. Nice to meet you. Come on, let's go.
Felix Fernite.
Yes.
They give you 2 names.
Well, I am a finite, and my name is Felix. So, in many ways, no.
Yes, I see. It has been an absolute pleasure to meet you, Felix Fernite.
You're very welcome. And he does like a sword swing. He's like, "Phew!" It's been great.
This is highly unusual, but I will tell you that my name is Indomitus.
Indomitus.
Indomitus Galatius.
It's a big name.
Often people like me have these kind of names.
Under the breath, 2 names.
Well, I appreciate it. That's very nice of you.
And you're travelling to the northeastern gate, I heard you say.
Yes.
Well, you'll be ahead of us by at least a half day, I'm sure. We don't travel particularly fast, as you can see, but that's where we're travelling. We may catch you on the road from here to there.
You said you came from Spergaza. I hate to speak for you. What did you think of the fire in the library?
It's deeply unfortunate. Some of us see knowledge as something that's lacking in our world.
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm talking to this creature. Did they teach you Elvish today, or did you pick this up on your own?
Oh, I picked it up on my own. Yeah.
It's fairly good.
Yeah. Well, I got to do what I'm told when I'm in the arena, right? So, yeah. You
There
gotta
are
know.
certain words you should avoid that are fairly uncouth amongst my people, you see.
Well, I want to say, for example, but that would be a mistake, wouldn't
You
it?
see how
That would be a terrible mistake.
Very well done.
Yeah, I won't do that.
Very well done.
Yeah.
We have been fairly forgiving. We're allowed to be. We have certain nuances in our status.
Mm.
We're allowed to overlook certain things, but you may find people who want to take their status too far, should we say. May get you in trouble.
Mm. Well, the elves were always very kind to me.
That is good. You are a good companion.
Thank you very much.
It is a shame that I did not get to see you fully.
I smell a lot. It's a problem. I haven't washed in going on years, and I'm 5 years old. So
You are 5 years old.
5 whole years. I know. We usually live to about 15. So
Wow. In which case, I must take no more of your time.
thank you very much. It really does. You make a very good point. Away we go.
It was a pleasure to meet you, Lurchus. It was a pleasure to meet you, young person who I thought was a dwarf.
But it's not.
But is not. I now know that. And your strange friend, I bid you adieu. I apologise for the mix-up.
No problem.
Please go with my blessing.
Thank you. We'll turn.
Yeah, we'll head on back to the pub.
We'll leave.
As you leave, you'll notice the 3 other guards here with them watch you fairly closely as you leave.
I'm walking backwards towards the path.
Yeah, just all the way back.
Oh, proper cowboy like.
Yeah, they don't take their eyes off you.
I'm not taking my eyes off of them neither.
Indomitus seems to just go about his daily work, but then again, it's really hard to tell what he's paying attention to. He seemed to almost be aware of everything all at once. So it's hard to know if he is watching you or is not, but the rest of them seem very much to draw an eye on you. And they keep that eye line for as long as you walk away, and this undulating ground will eventually let you pass off. You hear the kind of lyrical tone of High Elvish as you kind of disappear. They're obviously talking amongst each other, but not really enough to... You would be able to pick it out as Elvish, but that's about it at the distance.
Firstly, really sorry I said the M word. It's been a little while. Secondly, pretty dodgy. Anyone else got a really dodgy feeling about those guys?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, he's a tough but harmless.
Yeah, but he was heavily hinging that he's going to go and search for the dwarves, which I believe aligns with our mission a little.
It sounds to me like he's looking to start preparing for war.
Mm. Or they're buying siege weaponry, yes. Interesting. We may bump into them again, so his name is useful.
Caston brings out a bowl.
Oh, thank you very much.
It's for the highest bidder.
Yeah, I'm the smallest one, but the highest in regard.
What's the bid?
2 rations.
Thinny?
No, not for me, thank you.
Spelly?
No, thank you, Caston.
Then I win by default. By default. By default. By default.
It is absolutely delicious.
Yeah, and it goes down his beard. And he like mops it up with the neckerchief, and he's just like,
Jekyll had never
no,
tasted this good.
Yeah, it's so good. It really is. And paws, and then he uses his wet paws to like slick his hair. He's like, perfect.
So we press
I
on.
want to watch you eat again. Ever.
Yeah, it's just a little bit in the old buffet later. Just a little bit.
With that in mind, we should take a very short break, very short intermission. We'll take roughly 5
Much
of your
needed
Earth,
Ollie P break.
much needed Dungeon Master urination break, which we will take for roughly 5 of your Earth minutes, and then we shall return. Hello there! Welcome back, everybody.
That's
That was
again.
slightly more than 5 of your Earth minutes. It was closer to 10 of your Earth
Yeah,
minutes.
it normally is, to be honest.
Yeah, it's
When we
roughly
say
double-
5, yeah.
Roughly double whatever we do.
So many dog minutes.
There's so many dog minutes. 40 dog minutes for those characters. No, 70 dog minutes? Is it times 7?
Be a lot.
Yeah. So, a lot of dog minutes. Felix is much closer to death than the rest of the characters at any given time. Wonderful. So you managed to back away from this camp. You hear the lyrical sound of Elvish quietening down as you move further away. Are you actively watching to see if you're being followed,
I
for
am.
example? Yeah. I won't make you roll for it.
It's my general demeanour. I'm always suspicious, so always assume that I'm watching
That's a good assumption to make.
every direction that I'm possibly capable of watching.
There's no obvious signs you're being followed. You heard them talking to one another. It's further away. It doesn't seem to be a trick or a gimmick. If anything, it's a little unnerving how they allowed you in and allowed you to leave. You've lived in Equa. You've been around Equins before. That whole thing was a bit odd.
Yeah, I was very. Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
Have you seen their type around Spetikaza before?
Not that high. They were very highborn elves.
I don't like them being that close to us.
They knew about the library, so they had been there. Freaky weird. That's what they were. So which way are we going to go? We're going to go to the old place or the new place? Based on this song.
Well, we searched for the chime.
That does not answer my question. Anyone else? Not the lady.
Did that sign indicate an inn or?
I think so.
I think
Ale house.
I think we should head for that. I don't like the idea of camping the night on the road, with the possibility that they might catch up to us.
It's still early though, no?
Yes, but how far away is the gate?
I would estimate a good few days still, probably.
Then it might be a plan to head for somewhere we could spend the night. Unless you have a better idea.
So it's worthwhile pointing out at this point, and some of you will know this, some of you won't. Maps of Asher, very rare, incredibly rare. Alantrix will have seen some in their time around. It's actually quite hard to tell how far away the gate is from you right now. You don't actually know, because very few people talk about it, very few people travel this way, so it's actually quite hard to know. It might be quite a useful piece of information.
I don't know if they were planning on staying there the night, or if they were camping through the day and planning travelling through the night.
Mm-hmm.
But having them so close on our tail makes me uncomfortable.
Well, we're in no huge rush.
Some of us more than others. Shall we go to your place if it's an inn and it's worth checking out? We'll ask questions. But I'm not the natural leader of this group. She is.
Okay.
There's probably plenty of things to smash.
I'm not paid to make decisions.
Try not to smash too many things. At least until we need to.
We need to feast, drink, and be unmerry.
Dear, dear.
And kill whoever you want to kill.
This might not be the best idea we've ever had.
He's like the anti-Father Christmas. He's great. He'll take your presents and punch you in the face.
Can we maybe avoid two key things? One, killing anyone, if possible,
I've never killed anyone.
Yeah, now we need to kill specific people.
and two, the magic word
I've never heard what.
we should
the
probably
what?
avoid.
You're not supposed to say it. No, she just said it.
What magic's outlawed? Who's magic here? Who's magic here?
I heard a story about a guy called Super Magic. It's for another day.
I'm kidding, I know who's magic here.
Pulling the hood down even further over his slightly glowing red eyes.
Shall we?
So you're travelling and talking, presumably. You haven't kind of stopped for a scrum huddle. So you're kind of travelling along.
Not with him.
Just crowding.
You're travelling further and further along this road. It's fairly, it's roughly linear. This road's obviously been made at some point. It goes in a straight line. But you notice as you go further and further along, this road gets patchy. It's less well maintained as other roads you've travelled. You're travelling further and further towards this in this direction of the northeast. It's probably worthwhile at this point. If anyone can do a nature check out where you are in the world, which direction you're travelling. Are you even travelling in the right direction?
Who's our most natural? Because it used to be foreigner all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Probably
Strangely enough,
released now.
I've
I'm -1.
got 20 on my
20!
Not natural
Huzzah!
20, which is strange.
What's that? Plus.
Dirty 20.
Plus 1. So it was a 19.
There's also a survival roll, I'll take that as well. But for a nature check...
Oh, you rolled it. I see what you mean.
Yeah. For a 20, you're pretty certain you're travelling to the northeastern gate. So you know you're travelling in the right direction. You're pretty sure you're travelling northeasterly. You know that by the way the sun's moving above you. It's now rough. It's past midday. Looking at the sun, you're kind of getting towards the end of the day. You've been walking all day. You guys are big bad heroes, so that's absolutely fine. You can do this all day, and you can bed down at night, and you can do it all again the next day.
Would be nice.
Yeah, but you've been walking along for a long time. As you're walking along, it's a nice summer day, so you've still got plenty of light. But shadows are starting to cast a little bit more as you head into the noon. And you can start to see a couple of things. One is, for the first time in a long time, you see something emerging on the right-hand side of the road, and it looks a bit like almost like a shack, some kind of wooden structure that's appearing on the right-hand side. The ground is now undulating; it's getting more and more rocky as time goes on, and you can still see these mountains off in the eastern distance. They're off in the east of where you are now. However, what you also see, and it's quite a strange sight to see, is almost like a very far off into the distance, slightly off to the path. There's almost like a pointed tip of something, almost like some kind of structure that goes up to a point. And it's off in the distance. You think if you were to make straight for it, you'd probably get there by nightfall, but it's fairly far off. It's obviously some kind of built structure, it's not naturally formed. But they're the two things you see.
Does it look like a mountain, or does it look like a spire?
Almost like a spire, but more rounded. So you'd imagine, it depends how much architecture you've kind of seen. You've been to Aqua, so you've seen this, but almost, if you
say, for someone from the city, would it be a recognisable shape as a?
Well done. So like elven architecture, it's very old, but it looks like the domed top of something.
What direction was that, sorry?
It's straight down the path, but off to kind of the left-hand side. You think you'd get there by nightfall if you headed straight for it. There's also this strange-looking shack appearing on kind of your right-hand side on the path.
Just right by the path.
Is it
The shack, is it? What
Is
sort
it-
of size?
is
are
it
we talking
lit
about?
or-
barn or?
Smaller than a barn, like a homestead maybe.
Could have treasures.
It's not lit.
Smaller than a barn but bigger than a dunny.
Exactly.
Look, we need to get our stories straight before we see civilization again. I think you being my travelling guard is as good a story as any that we have, but we should at least know where we met.
I'm a gnome. I build things.
Yes.
Does that work?
I'm sold.
Mm.
Yeah, you're really good at that.
Mm.
That's great. Maybe I'm a gnome.
Oh.
And I build
gnomes.
things. He's a gnome. No,
He's
he's
not a
not a gnome.
Jeez.
No,
Can we
but
leave them
if
outside?
you stood,
Why did you even invite us if this was going to be a problem?
yeah, he gnome.
In all seriousness, I need a guard.
Yeah.
Going into Shadecap is, if that's where we end up, is full of crooks and criminals and
In the shade
lowlifes.
I'll
Sound
take
like-
you through Shade Cap,
That's why you're here.
but I want to be me.
I could do it just like a coat or something, just to cover me up. Like if we get into a fight, I'm 100%. I am behind you. You are. This is great. Thumbs up. But I probably I could do a covering myself up.
Those elves before, they knew you were there. That's why I had to give you up.
But in the future, a bit more stealthy maybe.
To the common bystander, I would appear as elven.
To a human, yes.
So,
To an elf, no.
no, true.
You need to be more normal.
Like you.
Just act natural. You're so shifty.
Right.
I agree.
You're always in the shadows, like, I don't want to see anyone. Just walk tall and be proud of who you are.
Okay, I'll give that a try next time we go somewhere.
More like the pigeon, not like the raven.
So, what's...
People don't trust people that sit in the shadows.
I've lived my whole life not trusting people. Works for me.
You don't have to trust people, but they have to trust you.
I suppose.
Well, what do I care? I don't.
Should we go to the shack?
Do you have a cover story for when you're next questioned, so it's not quite as
I can
hickledy-pickledy?
I can be your guard.
Mm-hmm.
I can. That's the most likely scenario for somebody like me with somebody like you.
And these two guards as well?
I cover very well as a dog, but someone will need you carrying my sword.
Travellers we met on the way. It's not going to work, is it? Pilgrims? That's not going to work. That's definitely not
I'm
gonna
a
work.
gnome. I make things.
It won't work in Shade Cap.
Oh, come on.
Don't know me in Shade Cap. I'll be your guide in Shade Cap. I don't have to be your guard.
Guide? There you go.
I'll be your business partner.
He's your guide. I'm your guard.
Don't say.
Companion.
I love it.
Travelling companion.
It's nice.
This is our offering. Tasty, tasty. No offense.
You what? You what? You talking what? You gonna eat me?
It's not unheard of.
I'm
what?
not going to
What?
I'm not going to eat
I just want to go to the shack.
We won't. Jeez.
Careful then.
Okay.
Elandric stands back.
So you're walking up on, trying to get closer around the shack. That's what you want to do. Okay. It's a. As you get closer, there's kind of two structures. One is made of stone. It obviously was originally a home of some kind, some kind of homestead. It's on its own in the middle of nowhere. So obviously somebody who didn't really like company so much, or maybe something that was along the road to kind of help travellers. But it's fairly tumbled down by this point. There's a huge kind of tree that's fallen through the roof. It's in disrepair. There's nothing particularly stunning about it. It's obviously not used right now. And it's not Elven architecture. So you don't know what it is, but it doesn't strike you as particularly Elven. On the near side to where you are, there's a wooden structure that's built. That's quite clearly an outhouse. What's really odd about that, just as you get a little bit closer, is the outhouse seems to have sprouted. As in, there seems to be branches growing out of it, and the odd branch has a berry on it, which is... I'm not sure how much Felix has seen of outhouses, but this has never been seen before in the history of outhouses. But whether you know that or not is unusual.
It's the fertilizer. It's very natural. Very naturally grow.
Is that normal for around here?
I used to know somebody that would know that. She acknowledges it, but says no more.
Is there any sign of life? Any sign of people?
Not particularly. As you get closer, you notice the house. You smelt nothing but kind of grass and cooking for a little while. So you get a little bit closer, and you start to smell the smell of an outhouse, which isn't particularly pleasant. However, there is some kind. As you get a little bit closer, there's this outhouse, and the door's kind of broken down. You can see within it. There's this strange growth coming out of it, like this strange kind of branching and like leaves growing out of this kind of wood, which is very unusual. And there seems to be some odd glinting or glowing.
That's not a good sign.
Who the hell shit something like that?
The glowing, when you say glinting or glowing, is it like it's got an aura around it, or it's just some of the leaves are catching the light?
It's hard to really put your eye on it, but there's something that is like almost like you see a star in the sky. There's some kind of very specific glinting, like a star almost, that keeps appearing from within it somewhere. But you're at a distance, so it's hard to make out where it's coming from.
You want me to flip a coin for it?
Flip it.
What do you want? 3 and below or 4 and up?
4 and up.
Roll a d2.
Nice. Felix gets heads. I will make you go first.
I'm in.
The
I'll
big
enter.
hero steps backwards once more.
So you get a bit closer. There's this house shaped. It's kind of small for a building, but big for a halfling. That has this tree fallen over in it. It's kind of tumbled down. So particularly marks out. But I presume you're going close to this outhouse with this strange foliage growing out of it. It's growing straight out of the wood, so you almost have hewn wooden planks, but then parts of it have sprouted as if they've come to life out of nowhere. Again, you're used to living in the swamp, used to living in the outback, you've seen growth before, but it's strange to see this mixture of artificial structure and growth. As you get closer, you notice the door's caved in, so it's open to the elements. However, it looks like there's what used to be a mirror on the side. Mirrors are fairly ornate, they're worth a lot, so it's weird to see one here.
Useless.
Yeah, somewhat useless. It's slightly smashed, it's old. However, it's at a weird angle, and what the glinting you're seeing is actually the reflection from within this cesspit almost. There's this hole in the ground, and you can see the glinting of gold. As you get closer, you see coins and gold and various things that are obviously within this outhouse.
What do you see?
I'll tell you in a minute. Probably,
I think he's going to use the outhouse.
it's probably going to try and reach for something sparkly.
Oh.
So you're going to try and reach into the
Mm.
cesspit. Awesome.
Does it smell like a cesspit?
Oh yeah,
Right.
it smells like it smells like filth. Yeah, it's real stinky.
So while he's investigating that, I'm going to head over to the other building.
Yeah, okay. So you head over there. It was obviously an abode. It was a house. A lot of what's in there has been picked over, so it's hard to see what room was what, if there was anything of any value in there. It obviously used to be a thatch roof stone cottage. Very typical of kind of human or halfling buildings, kind of out in the country, out in the middle of nowhere. It's obviously been abandoned, and at some point a tree fell through it. But other than that, there's nothing particularly of note. The tree itself, weirdly, is again sprouting. It's growing. There's life there. It's only slightly rooted, but the growth's fairly rampant. It's fairly healthy, so it's unusual. You can take a nature check, try and figure out more about it, but other than that, or any other kind of check to try and figure this out. You're welcome to roll anything at any point, by the way, if you want to gather any information, not just when I hint.
Should we all roll a random check?
Just to see what happens.
Well, I've rolled 3 on a survival check to see if there's anything.
Nice.
If
You fall on
the
that.
tree
You have
is
died.
growing anything
Oregon
edible,
You're unaware.
but I'm completely in the dark.
Yeah, you are
because
100% certain that it's a tree.
It's tree. It's
Yeah.
tree, and it's in the middle of a house where it shouldn't be. That's as much as I can work out.
And
for
you're
myself.
dribbling a lot.
Yeah. It's a tree in a house.
So as that happens, then you guys are both keeping a distance. You're kind of figuring out what's going on.
He's going to be relatively close behind this one.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you're backing him up. You're going right down there. Can you give me an athletics check to see if you can reach this? Because you're teetering on the edge. You're only quite short. It's quite a long drop.
I like to think Felix can see little legs
Yeah.
poking out.
You teetering on the edge of picking this poob out there.
18.
That's a good
It's a long way down. You're kind of looking at kind of 5.
Longer than Caston.
Yeah, it's kind of 5-6 foot. But you think you could really, if you really tried, it's further down than you are tall. But if you really tried, you could probably hook.
Can I
Something
aid him
down.
by holding his legs?
You
What's he
can try.
got?
You can try if
He's
you want.
got
You could shout me over and I
But
could
I should-
tackle
axe,
him.
boomerang, backpack, chest,
Backpack chest.
bedroll,
Backpack chest. Well, that
Axe
sounds
boomerang.
right.
crowbar,
Anything that
holy water.
anything that extends your reach, you can use it.
The holy one.
I'll
might
use,
help.
yeah, I'll use whatever I can kind of
Crowbar?
get.
Crowbar would do.
Well,
that.
that,
As you,
Crowbar.
that holy water's not doing it.
Oh, just
He's
wasting
gonna go-
holy water
He's
as
going to
well.
backpack with crowbar. And
you're
then-
noticing as you look down. How familiar are you with currency?
It's like broken sword, like dragging all the
well,
things from the
it-
menu.
It is like pillaged
Yeah.
in his past, so yeah, he's robbed a lot of people in his youth.
So you look for cash. That's kind of
Yeah, shiny things basically.
thing.
Shiny means
So you will notice there is a fair amount of money down here. Yeah, it's a sizable chunk. Like, to an average individual, this would easily be like a couple of years living for free. So yeah, there's a lot of money down here. And as you get a little bit closer,
Please tell me he's going to fall in. Please tell me.
the outhouse moves. And slowly, you notice this, Felix.
Mhm.
I'm going to make you roll. Can you roll me? You have 2 choices. You can roll a dexterity saving throw to get away from this thing, because it's going to try and take a bite of Caston. Equally, you can back him up and stay there. In which case, you can take a Constitution saving check to try and stop it from biting Caston.
Yeah, I'll do the con check because
Cool.
I got to back up my bud.
By biting, does it
Oh,
have
no.
teeth?
You're about to find out.
Uh,
a biting or a gumming.
Oh, plus 4, 11.
11, okay. I imagine as a barbarian you have danger sense. Is that right?
Yeah, they're-
Cool.
Good grief.
Yes, that's
So
true.
I'm going to make you make a dexterity saving throw to get the hell out of this thing, as you notice it's trying to take a chunk out of you. And I think you've got this as an advantage.
So it's advantage as long as I can see it.
You
or
can.
hear it.
You're in it. So
Yeah.
This is no
You
cave.
know you're bloody shit.
I know. I've never known anything about any of your classes.
I played a barbarian recently.
Oh, yeah.
Don't check me on that. I'm definitely Bloodhunter. I don't have a clue.
We'll take the first one.
Oh dear.
It's gone well.
Was it was
Half
dex-
a barbarian.
dex, wasn't it?
Dexterity saving throw. Yeah.
How big are these teeth?
Um,
I mean, if we're talking like
12.
half his body size.
12. Good man. So yeah, what happens is as the poopy orifice, if you like, suddenly comes out with incredibly sharp ivory teeth appear, and the whole thing Constantine is in to try and cut you in half, effectively. You just manage to escape out of it. This wooden structure kind of conforms around this weirdly organic, toothy mouth that then snaps shut around you, and you just manage to escape. Luckily, as well as that, Felix, you managed to jump in and pull Castan out of the way.
Oh, goodness.
To help him out, rather than escape yourself.
Yeah.
As the whole structure of this outhouse starts to move with some kind of mixture of wood and fleshy-like movement.
It's house moving podcast.
And it starts to move around you. I won't make you roll initiative because that will be the end of our first session.
What a good place to finish.
Fighting the living toilet.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining us, everybody. It's been wonderful. Thank you for stopping by. We will be here the same. Well, we'll be here slightly earlier next week for 7:30 next week. And I can't do global time, so Jack's going to do it for me. You know all the global times.
I will. Yeah.
You win.
Whatever they are.
in Hawaii.
Yeah.
It is 2 p.m. in Holland, the Netherlands. And it is, what's that like?
It's 5
It's
o'clock.
8 p.m. in France.
It's 5 o'clock
8 p.m. in
somewhere.
France.
2 p.m. in Holland, but
And
8
it's
p.m. in
5
France.
o'clock somewhere.
7:30 British time. Everywhere else, check them out.
2:30 New York.
Yeah, 2:30 New York.
So,
11:30
Hammer time.
California.
Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and roughly 7 a.m. Sydney.
Lovely. That'll
And
do.
all points in between.
Just trying to think if I'd want to watch this at 7 a.m.
If you're in
A
Sydney,
poopy toilet.
you
A
would.
poopy toilet at 7
Oh, I
a.m.
think anybody's going to want to watch to see what happens with the poopy toilet.
Yeah,
This
Absolutely.
monster.
Roll credits, Jack.
That's all we got time for. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Very much.
We've been
Is what we've been.
Once again.
Hello, boys. Pink lemonade?
More